yo, don't that white, no muzzle. Sparring Minds live every Friday. Let's go. Look, it's Sparring Minds. If you don't know the name, look us up. You know it's all facts when you got Chef Maine cooking up a couple of brothers who know all about the struggle. Black excellence, you know we just work hard and hustle. Whenever you want that urban talk, you know we keep it real. Mr. Maritime on the mic, yeah, you know the deal is real life. Hotel Hightower bringing you the feel. DJ Payne, keep it 100. Matter of fact, keep it a mill. Let's go.
Sparring Minds listeners was really good.
Yes. We're back in the building, baby. What's going on?
Yes, sir. For our audio listeners at home on SoundCloud, and wherever you get your audio podcasts, this is your boy Charlie Hustle.
It's your boy Hightower.
This is Sam Little.
Yeah, we're gonna
thank you guys in advance for supporting the team, liking and subscribing and all that stuff, man. We appreciate the support.
Word, and Hightower, we got some new subscribers up in Ottawa, Canada. Was what I saw this morning in our global update for our viewership, and I attribute that to I'm sure one of Hightower's recent trips around the globe. Salute to Hightower for plugging the brand in one of the many countries he's traveling in.
Always.
Yeah, I didn't in Ottawa, but that's not out of the realm of possibility for you, right, bro?
No, not at all. I can't say I've been, but I've definitely been north of the border, just not to Ottawa. Heard they got a good hockey there, though.
Yeah,
they got weed there too.
Weed? Sure, that's everywhere now except Russia.
Well, Jesus. Tell us about Russia, and off. We're tuned in, bro.
No, I got nothing to say about Russia. Only good things to say about Russia. Don't want them coming over here looking for me.
Yeah. We facts. Because in today's news, definitely gonna pull up on you. That's hilarious. Salute to the chef. Salute to Payne. They're not here with us this evening. They're living real life, and so salute those guys. Obviously, a major part of the brand. I think we want to dive right into this show tonight, fellas. Let's cut the small talk, right, and let's dig right into Black China. And let's get busy, man.
Yeah. So Black China's gone through another transformation. Except this time, this is the reversal of the first. For those that were unaware, she's gone under a few different physical alterations, from fillers to tattoos, you name it. She's probably been, involved in it. And recently a light bulb went off and she decided she didn't want those things anymore.
Yeah.
So she's been going through the process of removing those alterations, covering the tattoo, removing the fillers and all of those types of things. So first and foremost, salute to her for that.
Before you dive too deep, I wanna can we just stop and really recognize social media's role in the desire to have these type of things, whether it be these surgeries, these implants? How much is social media involved in that, right? And I just ask because we're all old enough to remember Little Kim from Bad Boy, right? Where in the 90s, Kim was bad before all the changes. She was bad before all that, and so many of us were
social media, though.
We had the. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I wonder what those changes and those desire for changes are attributed to for these women, right? Surely it had to be something of the male variety, right? Surely men are part of the core reason why women go through these changes. True or no?
That's a good part of it. Yeah, it's either them or other women.
Although, I mean,
Well,
women,
they say women dress for other women. So I imagine this could be part of that as well. I mean, until you're settled and situated, you're still on the draft board, so to speak, right? So similar to NFL or NBA, you know, you got to run faster, jump higher, hit harder to kind of stand out above the crowd. I imagine this could be something similar, right?
did you know I was pulling up some data? I was pulling up some data for tonight's show, and I've ran into a quick fast fact that 57% of women are in the gym solely for um, physical changes that men desire. 57%, while I think it was like 40% are in there for health reasons, and then obviously there's a small percentage there for miscellaneous. But I mean, to me, that struck me as odd. That's such a high number for women who are there just for what seems to be the eye of men, which is wild to me, right?
Well, I wonder what that within that 57%, which is a really high number when you say it. I wonder what the breakdown
Yeah.
is of those women who are single versus those women who are in committed relationships, marriages, etc.
Mm,
Mm.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's valid. But then, so it's going to end up diving deeper into the main core of what we're talking about tonight. But I would hope that that number is very high for on the side of, as opposed to women who are married and still find this need to have to go to the gym. I think to me, it's kind of immature. Like,
I wouldn't I wouldn't minimize it to immaturity.
you know, the husband accepts that woman. So then, what are you attributing it to?
There could be a myriad of reasons. Reasons it could be they have a level of I don't know upkeep that they want to maintain for as long
Yeah.
as they can maintain it. That could be a self-imposed effort as opposed to one that's been driven by someone else. Like for example, I don't run as fast as I used to. I could probably use some cardio, right? No one has to tell me that.
Right.
It's a decision I decide to get up and do it. There could be situations where people are saying, "Yeah, I could probably run a couple miles here and there," because maybe that makes them feel good.
Mm-hmm. So, but how much of that, Sammy, is how much of that is isolated awareness, right? For situations where we're talking about women in relationships. So yeah, I mean, I could probably get up and run a couple miles myself, right? In real life, that's probably a true statement, right? But to then say, well, I can get up and run a couple of miles because my wife would want me to, that's a different type of statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so then that leads to some of the things that we were just talking about with Little Kim and Black China, where it's like people have these lower values of self-worth based on who they're with or how they're perceived by others, right?
Mhm.
And not really diving deep into how or just not even developing their own self-worth to a point where they value themselves first before trying to value the thoughts, opinions, and desires of their partner.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that has started the conversation to me.
Yeah, that's a real
And I
thing.
think if you ask Black China right now, she would tell you that a lot of the work that she got done prior, the implants to the cheeks, the hips, all kind of different things, They were for the desire of others. Maybe the men she was targeting, social likes, whatever that was. And there wasn't that level of self-discovery, which I think everybody should go through, especially women. But everybody should go through that.
Yeah.
I don't want her to get lost in the opinions of others.
Well, I think that's probably what happened. I think she got lost in the opinion of others and trying to keep up with the quote unquote status quo of, you know, the environment. And then she just maybe had an epiphany where it was like, I'm not about that anymore.
Yeah.
And you know that to be true because look at what she was with. She was with the Kardashians, wasn't she?
Yeah. Definitely doesn't help the situation when you're dealing with. Yeah, that circle definitely didn't help her in that respect.
Of course not. Of course not. And so again, this is the highlight of someone chasing the eye of others, trying to fit into what others define as beautiful, trying to fit into what others define as sexy or acceptable, and missing the important step of self-awareness, self-love, self-consideration. You know, and those are so important, man. We do a lot of laughing and joking on this show, but to have some of these kind of conversations are so important because not enough of our community takes the time to do the self-evaluation and say, how can I make myself happy? What are my goals? What are my own desires? And generally, you hope people are doing that at a very young age. I tell my oldest son, he's 22 right now. Oh, he's trying to 22 and 23 actually this year. Pardon me.
Wow, Trey's 23.
But I tell my
He's 23.
Yeah, October.
Sheesh.
October of this year. I tell him all the time. I say, yo, take your 20s for self-discovery. Don't do anything for anybody else's desires outside of your own. Build your journey now, so that by the time you're 30 and you really want to settle down and be with one and then explore what that looks like, you know who you are first. You know what your journey. You know what I mean? And then you can your partner and start to then discuss what it looks like in merging desires. How can you merge desires if you haven't been able to establish your own?
Yeah.
Yeah, but as a kid, you know, I don't know. That might be a little bit too much for a kid to, you know, to go by. Kids go by what they see, what they like before they even think about themselves. Sometimes when it comes down to those things. As a kid, you probably you seen a hot chick out there. You're not thinking about, you know, anything but her. I don't know. I don't know.
There's a part of that that's accurate because we all gravitate. We all gravitate towards certain things with hopes that it's going to bear fruit, right? But, you know, that's part of the journey.
I think there's a little, and this is why I use the word immature in this conversation, is that we used to tie that specifically to sex, right? That's all we did. And there was never a part that kind of said, at 22, 23, 24, we never bothered to separate sex from self or relationship development. We didn't separate the two, right? We just thought, okay, well, you have sex. In order for you to have sex, you got to be in a relationship. Only as we mature do we understand. No, there's some decisions you can make there, right? You can separate the two. And there's not enough of that type of discussion to kind of say what are my real desires here? What do I want out of these situations? And then how do I see myself growing thereafter? This also brings up,
find those out until they're in their 30s.
Yeah, but I think that's
experiences.
Yeah, well, see that's the thing. Little is
I mean, you got to experience certain things before you start to realize what you really need in your life. Like after a couple of heartbreaks, you're like, wait a minute, okay, wait, I've been down this road before. You know, let me figure out she's not compromising on certain things I like. You know, you switch up a little bit. You know, but at 20, it's way too early. It's way too early.
Hold on a second.
A
He
lot
was
of
going to
people
touch on something there. You were touching on
don't know
something that's really
themselves.
important there, right?
You know, they don't find themselves until like they're in their 30s.
There's a part of this conversation that we haven't got into that I think is important, which is the part about, okay, now that or the example of a woman such as Black China, who, let's say she was married, right? Let's say that she had found a partner with what she was before, right? With the heart-shaped hips, with, you know, the injections in the cheeks, with these type of things. And then the husband fell in love with that. That's what he went and bought the ring for, right? He went and bought that engagement ring because of what she looked like then, right? And so now that she's going through this self-discovery period, rather late, in my opinion, but now she's still going through it and realizes, you know what? I love myself the way I was naturally, which we would all salute. Well, which I would salute. I can't speak for anybody else. I don't want to speak for you guys. I salute for the natural journey. But is there justification if the husband feels some kind of way?
I mean, he has the right to, but in that right, it can come off a way.
See,
It can come off. It can come off as selfish. It can come off as shallow. But that's, you know, part of the game, I guess, right?
You said you used the word right to, and I don't think he has the right to. Right? I don't think you have the right to come off in that manner. You have the right to love this woman unconditionally, because that's what you said you were going to do. Anytime you say you want to be committed to a woman, that's what you are saying. You are saying that I'm going to love you unconditionally for who you are. That's what you're saying, right? We can all sit and joke and say, oh my God, if my wife puts on 113 pounds, I'm out the door. No, nigga. That's not what love is. Right? If your first instinct is to leave based on equal change, then you misunderstood the term love to begin with. You misunderstood what commitment was to begin with. Right? Because those terms are selfless. Love and commitment are selfless terms. Mm-hmm. Right? You've joined in this conversation of commitment to blend goals, blend desires, blend a lifestyle. That's why you've joined in this commitment. If you don't want to do that, I say this all the time. If you aren't willing to give up your selfish nature, as defined by this guy who feels he has the right to, if you aren't willing to give up these selfish tendencies, then stay single. Your life will be much easier, I promise. Because then you aren't living up to false pretenses. You understand what I'm saying?
So I have a question.
You've gone into this relationship. Go ahead, talk that talk.
No, I just have a question. Now, if she made all these changes before I got with her, you know, and I got with her all of a sudden and she looked a certain way, then all of a sudden she decided she found herself. She wanted to change up. She wanted to go through the whole process that Black China went through. Why am I the villain if I didn't, you know, I didn't sign up for this new person that I'm looking at. I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah, you don't want sugar in your spaghetti.
I didn't know what she was beforehand. I seen her a certain way, and that's what I fell in love with, because that was a part of that. You know, I mean, I just want to know why am I the villain?
Do you love the woman at all?
Yeah, but I also love what I see. That all comes. It's all one. I mean, it all is a combined thing.
So the value that you place on the physical supersedes the value of the character in the individual itself. See, they can't be
Mm,
equal, right? That's just not
No,
that's not
no.
honest. They can't be equal. So one has to outweigh the other. It's certainly your prerogative if you say to me, yeah, honestly, just the physical outweighs the character. You can certainly say that, but you will also fall on the line that considered shallow. You'll fall on that line. And if you don't mind, then so be it. I'm sure your girl
mm,
would, you know, because that means that the tits and ass are more important than anything she ever says, feels, or does. And that's outrageous.
that's life.
I would also say,
That's life,
so
man.
okay. That's not life, bro. That's not life, bro.
I was telling
I was
Ant
telling you
a
guys.
story about a friend of mine, and I said,
Mm-hmm,
her and this guy, street guy, they got together,
yeah.
you know, and they kind of married real quick, probably within maybe the first 6 months of being around each other. They married. The
Okay.
very next day after he got married to her, he got into a little something. He got stabbed up pretty bad. Like they really
Mm,
did some real work on this brother. They really tore him
mm,
up where he's actually in the bed. He's at home. He don't get up to do anything. She has to now take care of him. He has a son.
mm.
She also has to take care of the son. She's not feeling it.
Oh,
What are you saying?
this is what we're talking about. So this is what we're talking about, right? It's listen, when you're
Now
committed
she
to
loves
something,
him, but she didn't sign up for this.
the, and what did you say when he told this story?
I never responded to it.
Listen, man. These relationships, especially for marriage, marriage is a predefined term, right? I know our world today looks at marriage and creates its own definitions for it based on desires, but that's not really what it's supposed to be. Marriage is a predefined term. That means me and you are going to be together, exclusive, until we die. That's what marriage means. People have customized it, right? But that's what it means. And this is a biblical term. This has been around for thousands of years. So, in her case, yeah, you got a bad deal here. You got a bad deal. So it sucks. It sucks. Listen. I feel for you, sis. The sex is different. I'm sure.
If non-existent, I would
Right?
imagine.
Respect for him is probably maybe at this point. I don't know what kind of medical. If he's in a bed, if he's bedridden, he's probably got a medical bag. It's probably a whole thing. I would gather.
Yeah, he's all out of
It's
commission.
Hey man, people draw the short end of the stick, and that's what she's done. That's what she's done. It's a bad space. I'm not gonna condone her stepping out. I'm not gonna condone her leaving. I'm not gonna ever green light. See, in today's world, we'll have you say, "Yo, Chuck, well, you have a compromise, and then let her have sex partners." I'm not doing that. You just drew the bad end of the stick. But you have to live with what marital choices you've made, because I don't believe in divorce, right?
Mm.
So yeah, your story sucks. I feel for you. Hope you married him for the right reasons, which would be character, honor, respect. But if you married him based on Sam's description of well, it's 60% physical and 40% character. Yeah, you fucked up. You fucked up.
Yeah, but how much of that is lost in the situation as extreme as that?
How much is what lost?
All of the character. Like if all he can do is talk and he's bedridden, that's an amazing case.
It is a yeah, it is a spectacular case, no doubt about it.
I just want to see how you talk your way out of this one.
No, it's a spectacular case, no debating. But the core concept remains of you shouldn't be getting married until you fall in love with the character of an individual, right? And then, listen, we all listen, man. We all appreciate a set of D cups. We all get it. I love them, right? We all appreciate a set of hips and ass that properly fill out a pair of jeans. We all agree on that. No debating, right? But save for a one night stand, right? I've been urging men to take the minute to use the dating stage as a teaching tool. Take the time to learn and develop real feelings for her character, right? How many times have we seen a bad bitch with a terrible attitude and dudes be wifing them and divorcing them 3 months later? We see all the time. Because, yeah, you fell in love with the way that her body is shaped, but then you can't have a conversation. Or you don't respect how she treats you. And those things leads to separation. All I'm telling you to do is save yourself the heartache. Love the character. Because the character very rarely changes. Very rarely changes. Character only changes when someone has a midlife crisis. Those are really the only times character really changes. All of a sudden, a dude who was 350 hits the gym. Now he's 210. He's feeling himself, right? Now his suit's a Euro cut instead of the big and tall selection, right? He's feeling swaggy out here. That's going to trigger a character change. That's equivalent to a midlife crisis. That's when you start to see him act different.
I would say the character change started before that. Something sparked in him that made him want to go and make that change.
It's behooving on the individual who loves that person to be involved in those changes. This is why I always say to marry your friend, right? Because your friend will be involved in such changes, right? Life is not compartmentalized when you're in a relationship. Aunt and I were just talking about this the other day. Like if anybody has changes that they're going through and they're in a relationship, the first person to know should be the person you're in a relationship with.
Yeah.
The first person to know that, hey, you know what? I'm really starting to feel better about myself after I lost a couple of pounds. I love that for you. Let's celebrate that. That's a joint victory. But if you keep it compartmentalized, right, here's what happens. That victory that you're going through as an individual, it's not shared, and it brings a divide between the relationship. You don't need that. You don't need that. So what I'm saying here is the character or any change to that character is something that's already highlighted by that person that you're in a relationship with. And that should be the preeminent part of the conversation. If physical changes happen thereafter, cool. For better or worse. Like we just talked about. This dude lose 140 pounds. All of a shit. Hey, women can say, I married him because he was a nice guy. Oh, shit, but now he's a looker, too. That's on the better side. You know what I mean? You love that. For the fellas, yeah, I married this woman, I really, she was there for me as a friend when nobody else was for me. Like she wasn't really the best thing on the eyes, but, she really helped my heart. That's a big deal. Little pardon us. I know you're used to dealing with dimes, right? Like that's, But some fellas get with a woman because of the way she makes his heart feel. You dig? And then, oh, by the way, now she's starting to feel swaggy. Now she get her hair done in a different way. It ain't that ponytail you used to no more. Right? Now she's doing regular bi-weekly self-care. Now she's getting her nails right. Now she's at the massage parlor. She's feeling different.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when women feel different? They dress different. They move different. They act different. Right? These are good things when you're involved in the conversation.
Yeah.
When you're part of that journey, it's a good thing. Yo, babe, honestly now, like, you looking like you put these leather pants on. She's guess what? Now, guess what's different? That sex life. She's feeling spectacular now. Throat is deeper. See what I'm saying? She flexible in ways she ain't never been. You here for this journey. But that's the
good journey. That's the good journey, though.
Sure, that's the brighter side. But there is a possibility of the darker side that can only be balanced if you fell in love with the character. And that's all I'm saying for you to do. Fall in love with the character. The physical is going to dance around on you, especially the longer the relationship goes.
It sounds good. Sounds nice.
Yeah, let's strive for let's strive for that. Strive for what sounds nice. Because that's the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
We make life too difficult sometimes.
We definitely do.
How big is sex in your life? In your relationship? How big is sex?
I mean, it's
because
important.
What if she decides one day, you know what? I'm going to give up sex. You're married. To death do us part.
Yeah.
Take the good and the bad. How big is sex in your life?
Yeah, no, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. And you can go off the ledge, Ed. You can jump off the ledge.
Never mind. The smiles tell it all.
I listen. Oh, okay. That's not gonna happen. But let's just play along, right? So let's say that's the conversation, right? I started this conversation out by saying that what we're talking about today is the importance of communication through life changes, right? That helps make some of these a little bit easier, right? So if she all of a sudden out of the blue brought this up, it's going to take some discussion. And we're going to discuss this a lot, right? A lot.
A lot.
Until I either understand it, we come to some kind of agreement, or
yes, I get to skip out maybe 3 nights a week. How about that?
That's not going to work.
That's not how this works. Fuck this. I don't want to be married.
So let's go back a second because we're talking about Black China for Sparring Minds listeners who are tuned in. If the husband is no longer attracted to Black China after these changes, now what?
He's for better or for worse, right?
That's my thought.
Yeah,
Man,
so
fuck that.
That's where it ends. And I don't mean end as in it dissolves the relationship. That's just where the buck stops in his case. Unless he just can't find a way around it. This is akin to the story literally. Like you hope he's in love with the character.
It sounds like, for listening to you guys, that your belief is the majority of men are not in love with the character. They're in love with the physical.
I think it's twofold.
The majority of men. Okay, I'm listening.
I think it's twofold. I think you can... how do you do this? You can you definitely love the character, no question. But when your armor tarnishes a bit, you don't look as your stature isn't as it was. You know what I mean? So now you're not. People don't. Once people start seeing the chink in your armor, it's like, okay, he's got some weaknesses, or he's not as stable, or he's not as strong. You see what I mean? Those type of things play a role.
So let me speak candidly and personally, right? So since I've been married, I'm coming on 10 years in August. Round of applause to me for going through that kind of journey. When I got married, up till now, I've gained 45 pounds, right? Over the course of the 10 years in marriage, right? And by your definition, the armor is tarnished because I'm not
No.
because
how's the armor tarnished?
Well, because I'm not what she married, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, it was a gradual change that she was still a part of, that she still had a hand in. She's cool with how you are. But if it's something that just happens real fast, like, it's a different thing.
If you did it on your own without her, hand in hand with you, that's a different conversation, right?
I don't know. I disagree with that part. But where I'm going is, in my head, if weight gain is a tarnish, right, then my actions as a husband should balance that. Correct?
Yep.
So for me, it's like, yeah, I've gained 40 pounds since I bought that ring. But you know what? Over 10 years, I've also proven to be an elite husband, right? Like I'm top shelf in everything that should count.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. I don't forget birthdays. I don't forget anniversaries. You guys know me. I do the absolute most. Right? The way I balance things emotionally is 100% of the time I put her needs ahead of mine. 100% of the time. Right? So the actions or the character that she or any woman should have fallen in love with first have not only been the same, but are better, right? Even if there is a tarnish to the physical. And so what we're talking about with Black China is, even if there is a tarnish to what that physical is, and in this case, just the removal of the implants or removal of whatever else he thought was sexy at the time of marriage, right? Had you fallen in love with the character, you would notice that that's still probably the same or better. And that holds weight in this conversation.
No question.
And I'll go a step further to say that it should outweigh any physical tarnish. And that's where I feel like I'm losing you guys.
No, I'm on board.
Okay. So, Little, are we going to get you on board, or what's the story?
Excuse me?
Are we going to get you on board, or what are you going to do?
On board to do what?
On board to agree that
I
any
agree.
character... Oh, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
No, I agree.
Okay. That's important.
I agree.
So we all agree that, first off, a woman's character must and should, in long-term relationships, outweigh her physical.
Yep.
And that if there is a tarnish to the physical, right, it is a real man's responsibility to then get that against her character. Now, if she has physical tarnishes, right, and she's a bitch in the same conversation, well, no, there's a different kind of discussion here.
Different kind of discussion there.
There's a different topic here, right? But if there is some tarnishes there, but you know what? She treats me better than I could have imagined. You can't debate that. You know, you walk in the house, you get a hot meal every night. She's on her knees when you walk through the door. Hey man, I don't know what more dudes ask for. What more are you asking for?
You know, I was gonna say something
I don't
like she
get it.
better suck a mean dick, but yeah, I refrained. But
Yeah.
I refrained from it. But then you went ahead and did this.
You two are crazy.
Yeah. That's what we're talking
Jesus
about.
Christ.
That's what we're talking about. I want us as men to do a better job of gauging, measuring, understanding character, and putting that as a higher priority than what a woman looks like at 27. Because at 43, that story is going to be different.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that going in. It's, you know, again, I think a lot of people now are, especially with IG, they got 50-year-old women now in the gym chasing bodies of a 24-year-old. I don't know what we're doing.
Nah, I won't. I won't. That's a bit extreme. I won't go that far.
You won't go. What? You disagree?
I don't think they're chasing. This could be a lifestyle that they've maintained.
I disagree.
Nah, some of them old heifers, they out there chasing.
They're
Believe me.
chasing.
No, some of them,
that
sure,
body.
but I wouldn't say Ashanti's chasing anything.
Oh,
Nah.
Ashanti been that.
Motherfuckers are
You see what I
chasing
mean?
Ashanti.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. No, but don't discount the fact that there's a 51-year-old right now at Planet Fitness. Talk about she want to look like Ashanti, or talk about she want to look like any one of these 24-year-old chicks. That's That's an absolute fact.
For sure.
And here's the kicker: they're chasing that to get the eye of a man. And I'm saying, as men who are the shoppers in the conversation, it should be measuring the character versus that physical. That's all I ever ask. Sure, as men, we all go on IG every day and we scroll down and we look and we might hit a like,
Joe,
might hit a heart.
Shut up. You trying to get me in trouble, nigga? What's wrong with you? Yo, man laws. Relax. Jesus.
Touche.
Episode 67 of the Sparring Minds archive, which you guys can always go back and take a look at on YouTube or in our audio SoundCloud library, is Man Law. We'll discuss certain things that you should not do as it relates to being a man in the Black community. Yo, listen, fellas, this is a good show.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm always here for grown man bars. As you Sparring Minds listeners can tell, we have moved to a pre-recorded platform. And that gives us a chance to interact with you guys in the comments as these videos are made available. I think there's always some kind of weird disconnect as we try to communicate with our audience through live shows. So this gives us a different perspective for this season, at least. So I'm here for it. And also, you get a cleaner version of the show. I know when we're going live, sometimes it's a little, so these are always cleaner and always a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
We have a slew of more hard-hitting, really grown man conversations coming up over the course of season 7. So I'm excited about those. Salute to the brothers Jermaine and Kimani as they're doing their real life travel journeys. Boys, I think it's time for mirror time. Do you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
Sammy, talk to us, God.
Before I start, want to salute Black China. Congratulations. Keep it up, man.
Word.
Today's maritime. Right now, your assignment is you. Water you and bloom with grace.
Yeah, that's excellent, bro. That's excellent. Yo, you know something? These mirror times get better and better every week, man. 127 episodes in, and I think the first one really was Roses Are Red, Violets Are Blue. So these are really some top shelf pieces. I'm appreciative of them.
Yeah. Fine wine, little fine wine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sparring Minds listeners, episode 127 in the books. Definitely go like, subscribe, follow the content library that we have on YouTube, SoundCloud, and all of your other listening platforms. And we will back with you next week, digging deeper into some other grown man bars. So until then, it's your boy Charlie Hustle.
Your boy Hightower.
Aries, we up.
Peace and love, y'all.
Spar, we out of here, man.